Hello. I was a little language. First, I want to thank you for having me. I wish I were in Cannes myself. And then I'd like to start talking about a book I wrote 13 years ago, The Next 100 Years. And in that book, I said that Turkey would emerge as one of the leading powers in the world. And I said that so would Japan, and so would Poland. Well, these were very strange things to say, and people didn't believe me. Well, Japan is the third largest economy in the world, and China is weakening. Poland is a significant force in Europe, not always liked, but significant. And Turkey is emerging from a necessary economic problem. So when we look at the rise of powers, almost always the rise begins with economic issues. In the United States, in the 1930s, was the Great Depression. It appeared that the United States would never recover from this. It would be absolutely devastating. Obviously, the United States did recover from it, and it became a major world power, likely the most powerful world power. Britain, before it began its rise, conquering the world, Britain went through a terrible depression in the 1830s. And from that, it rose up. These things are necessary because before a nation can emerge, before it can rise, it can be effective, it has to have a cleansing. The American economy cleansed itself of old ways. The British economy cleansed itself. These were extreme cases. What's happening in Turkey is much less extreme, but still it's a cleansing. First, it clears the obsolete industries, making way for new ways of doing things. Second, it rebuilds the workforce. This is a very painful process, but a necessary process. It creates new opportunities for workers, new ways of looking at things, new strength to the economy. And finally, these economic problems recapitalize the system. One of the things that the Great Depression did was, in the United States, was obsolete industries were destroyed. The workforce that emerged afterwards was completely different. And an entirely new system of capitalization took place. So when I look at great powers, and my job is to study the rise and fall of nations, when I look at great powers, I look at the question of how does the economy readjust itself? And how the economy readjusts itself in Turkey has been a very orderly and efficient one. Very painful, very unpleasant perhaps, but still a necessary transition. So the question becomes, what will Turkey be? Well, Turkey is always a great trading power. It exists on the boundaries of Asia, Africa, and Europe. But it's more than that. It is going to emerge as a great technological power. And it will emerge as a great technological power because this must happen. Now, when we speak of technology today, we speak of the microchip which powers the computers, and this is high tech. This is the cutting edge. Well, it's no longer cutting edge. It's quite old. We had, in the late 19th century, electricity emerge that made it possible to have cities that worked at night, that made it possible to have lights and so on. And then it became ordinary. And then the automobile came, and it existed for 50 years until 1965, and it began becoming ordinary. There was nothing new to give to the automobile. The microchip today is 52 years old. The microchip is not a young technology. The microchip is a technology that has reached a point of being normal, of little advances, not massive transformations of how we live. This is normal. So the question is, what is it that comes next? Well, we've all lived through COVID, and we all know how the medical system really failed to manage it well. It was a problem. So certainly that points its finger at medicine as the new high tech. But there's something deeper. Throughout the world, there's aging population. There's an aging population that is growing older and sicker. The older you get, the less productive you can be. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, all of these diseases are a problem. But it's a problem doubly because we have a falling birth rate everywhere. So rather than having young people who are able to support the old people, we have old people who are draining society and can't be supported. So we can't afford old people who don't produce something. We can't afford that because we don't have enough young people to support them. And so what we have to take a look at is how we create, that people. And there must be a massive assault on these degenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, as I said, and others. And that assault on these diseases must be systematic and must require a new medical technology. We don't know how to deal with these diseases right now. And from a social point of view, unless we figure out how to deal with them, we're not going to be able to support our economies. Therefore, the 50-year-old, 52-year-old microchip will be with us forever. Electricity is with us forever. Automobiles are with us forever. They don't go away, but they no longer create the profits, the capital to transform society, no longer create new changes in how we live. That's gone. So one of the things that Turkey has, I've noticed, is medical schools and the fine medical system, a medical system that is on the par with many countries and also runs very efficiently. So the technical changes that have to be made are very much in keeping with what Turkey is. The medical changes that have to be made are things that Turkey can undertake. And now, as it emerges from the economic problems that it had and begins looking for investment opportunities, it must look for the thing that hasn't been done yet. One of the problems in many countries is they want to go into computing, high tech, 50-year-old technologies, and they want to add a little something to it. The great breakthrough 50 years ago has been done. The great breakthrough that society is waiting for right now is medicine. And this is worldwide. Our medical system cannot deal with the demographic realities, the reality that we need to prevent degenerative diseases so that we have 85-year-old people who soak society, pull wealth out of society. We have to do it. The elderly want it. The young, who are fewer, need it. And this has to happen. And what happens in technology is that what is needed is created. When we had large cities, we had electricity. When we needed to manage data, we had the microchip. Now, what we need between COVID as a minor example and the demographics as the major example is a transformation of medicine, and that has to be technological. So technology has been seen for 50 years as a computer. But after 50 years, it's not high tech. The microchip today is the same age as the automobile was in 1965. It was there, it was important, it drove people, but there was no breakthroughs that it could do. So now we've reached that point. And by the way, in 1965, nobody realized that the automobile had reached its maturity. They were still looking for transformations. Well, it didn't come from there. It came from the microchip. And now it's not going to come from the microchip technology, the world of computing. That's been 50 years. It's matured. It's created. So what is next? And this is the question that Turkey must answer. If it is going to be in technology, it is extremely important that Turkey not come in on the tail end of the microchip, but pioneer the beginning. The problem is medicine. Turkey has a superb medical system and many medical schools and students studying them and foreigners going to study there. And it has all the things that need to be done to create this world. Okay. What we are looking for is a new wave of startups. And they will not happen in the countries that have become rich on microchips. Those countries are happy. The Americans are very happy dealing with its technology. So it's a new country that has to do it. Turkey has the advantage of having cleared its plate and being hungry. And by being hungry, by having things like Prop Tech Hub that is there looking for opportunities, Turkey is ready to make the move. Turkey has another advantage. It lives in a bad neighborhood, as we say in the States. It is surrounded by instability. To the south, to the north, it is an unstable region. But Turkey is a stable center, a pivot. And being stable in a region that is inherently unstable gives tremendous opportunities. Dangers, not so much, because Turkey is a very difficult place to mess with. But these places around you give you opportunities politically to involve yourself, but more importantly, to draw expertise. The countries around you that are unstable now are filled with expertise. When we look at Europe, we look at the former Soviet Union. When we look at Iran, the area south, these are very important people, and you can draw on them. When the Americans did the technological revolution, the last one, it was always done with foreigners, experts from somewhere else who wanted to be there. And that makes Turkey very, very viable. To be a stable platform in an unstable region creates business opportunities, which doesn't seem that way, but it's true. It also creates internal opportunities for building it up. We have to remember the microchip in the United States was invented by the Department of Defense. It was built by the Department of Defense in order to fuel missiles, to guide missiles to their targets. Well, out of that came an entire industry. There's a strong connection between defense and civilian products. And it has to be remembered that in other countries, the two merged together. In China, the two were together. In Russia, two were together. In the United States, always the two were together. And Turkey has the culture of military that is essential for this sort of development. So when I look at Turkey, I mentioned this in the context of other countries, Japan, that I think was a great power, and China declining, Poland emerging, the European Union uncertain, unstable, not really used to what's going on. Of course, the tragedies going on to the north is also there. The comparative advantage, which is the rule of economics, the comparative advantage is to be found in Turkey, as I said before, and I will insist is the case as well. So one of the things that I would like to leave everyone with is the idea that Turkey was once the center of gravity of the Eastern Hemisphere. It was the trading power, it was a technical power, it was a moral power, it was critical. A century and a half in history is nothing. You are now once again on the threshold of being that sort of power. So when I said that 13 years ago, people laughed. When I said in 2020, this will begin to be a process, they laughed. But the fact is that it's 2020 and it's time for the process to begin, and it's beginning. The table is being cleared geopolitically. The table is being cleared economically. The table is being cleared politically to begin the process of harnessing all the technologies that are there. Obviously, I have to say that real estate, construction is at the center of everything. If you don't have the appropriate buildings, you can't have a revolutionary technology. And the connection between construction industry and startup companies like PropTech Hub's startup project is obvious. So as new companies emerge, new technologies have to be developed in building to provide them a home. So I thank you very much. I wish I were there. I want to say that whereas many people think Turkey has problems, I think Turkey has opportunities. I've said it in writing, and I say it here. The one thing that Turkey must have is self-confidence. It must have the belief in itself. And during the Great Depression, that was very hard for the Americans to have. And the 1830s are very hard for the British to have. And that's the challenge. It's easier for someone who's outside the system to believe in Turkey, I think sometimes, than those inside the system. So I congratulate you in this conference. I'm grateful for having the opportunity to talk to you, if not see you, clearly. And I hope very much that that confidence will return to Turkey, which it needs to handle the region that it's in and the opportunities that it has. Thank you very much.